Hello and welcome to This James the Bike Guy, where we're taking a look at a bike that can tackle the snowy tarmac that we have in front of us here, go on adventure rides, be a bike that'll keep up with your friends on a road ride, and allow you to enter into a gravel race if you wanted to as well. All that for $2,500. This is the Trek Checkpoint ALR 5, and we're going to go into the features and designs of this bike, as well as, in the end, we'll find out exactly what it weighs. Starting off talking about what the Trek Checkpoint is, and this bike is the gravel bike in Trek's lineup. Now, by gravel, that means that this is oriented to be able to do pavement, dirt paths, and some gravel trails as well. And to do that, Trek wanted a bike that was going to be fast and nimble while it was on the road, but be able to have some control when you start going off-road. And that is where the Checkpoint comes in. Now, gravel bikes originated from sort of a cross between what a mountain bike was capable of doing and what a cyclocross bike would do. Cyclocross bikes were generally limited to 33 millimeter wide tires, not these hefty 40 millimeter wide tires we have on this bike. They were also a bit steeper in the front end, their bottom bracket was a bit taller, and the reach was shorter, or the front center, I should say. And by doing that, it made those bikes really quick and fast to handle around a cyclocross course, which were quick 30-minute sprints with tight turns and quick climbs, whereas this bike is really designed for full days out adventuring. And what a full day adventuring on this bike would look like is, well, anything you might want to do. And that's because the ALR 5 utilizes what they call their 300 series alpha aluminum, which this frame is hydroformed. That's how we get these unique shapes. You can kind of look towards the front. We've got a squarish oval, which kind of tapers, goes into the back. That's done through a hydroforming process. Same with the seat stays, and same with this chainstay. Now the chainstay, pretty neat, because on this bike you'll see kind of does this small little drop, and that is allowing for them to run even wider tire sizes than you might otherwise expect. So this, of course, has stock 42 millimeter tires. These tires fit in pretty nicely, and the bike can fit up to 47 millimeter wide tires on the 700C wheels it comes with. But if you wanted to go even wider, you can do a 2.1 inch on a set of 27.5 wheels. And much of that is made possible by that extra additional space via the drop stay. The other place where this frame comes in so that you can do anything you want, well, that is with the mounting tabs. So you've got all sorts of mounts. So starting with up top, you've got a bento box mount. On the down tube, look at that. You've got 4 aluminum bolts already in here. Triplicate mount down here. You've got a mount up here, plus 2 additional braze-on mounts that are not yet used. Underneath the top tube, you've got 1, 2, 3 mounts to go as well. On the seat tube, you've got your seat tube water bottle mounts, plus an additional braze-on not yet used. Underneath the bottom bracket, we've got a set of braze-ons down there, and that means that you can run all sorts of bags. So a frame bag, Trek makes a specific one just for this Checkpoint. You can toss that on there if you want to. You can run a bunch of aftermarket bags as well, up to 4 water bottles inside of the frame if you really wanted to set it up that way. And up front, you've got a triplicate mount on this carbon fiber OCLV fork, a mount down here for a fender, so you can run a fender set plus racks on the front end. And with that, this does operate using a 12 by 100 millimeter through axle up front, plus a 12 by 142 through axle out back, meaning you get super secure connection with the axles of this bike. Rear fender mounts on this as well, including this little bridge stay there, and rack mounts. So you could set this up with a bag in the middle. You've got both racks on the side, fenders, a rack out back. You could put a seat post rack on here if you wanted to as well, because you've got this nice aluminum standard size 27.2 seat post, all so you can go adventure. So one way you could use this bike is that adventure style as well, but you might also be able to take this out and really do a great road ride too. And one of the places that I wanted to talk about is the Girona tires that the bike is coming with. We looked at these shortly before, but this is a pretty new tire from Bontrager, and I love to see that it's coming stock on the bike. These are replacing the GR1 tire that Bontrager used to make and Trek used to stock on this bike, and instead they've replaced it with a much faster rolling tire with better flat protection than before. So this is a 2 compound tire. We've got a harder compound rubber that's going to have longer tread life and be faster rolling. On the sides, we've got a nicer, softer tire compound that's going to allow this tire to be grippier when it's off on its side. And Bontrager claims that this is now considerably faster than the old GR1 tire that they had before. The other neat thing with this bike and tire combo is that it is tubeless-ready. So the bike's coming mounted up with Paradigm rims, tubeless setup with the Girona Pro tire. So all tubeless, nice to see out of the box, because this should be a great tire for somebody who really needs one bike to do both their road riding and their gravel riding kind of all combined together. Now this particular version, being the ALR 5, means that it's going to be the top spec'd aluminum version. Of course, if you go to their SL or SLR carbon frames, you can get much higher spec bikes. This being a ALR 5 means that we've got some SRAM Apex drivetrain. This Apex drivetrain is mechanically shifted, but it has hydraulic brakes, both front and rear, with 2 piston calipers clamping down on 160 millimeter rotors. And out back, you've got the familiar Apex rear derailleur. Now this is a 1x system, so that means only a single ring up front. The bike comes stock with this 40-tooth SRAM X-Sync chainring through a SRAM Apex crankset. The crankset is dub, going through a T47 threaded bottom bracket. So super nice to see a threaded bottom bracket. And out back, the 12-speed drivetrain utilizes an 11 to 44 tooth cassette. So this cassette has pretty good range, especially with that 40 tooth front chainring, meaning that you're going to be able to have a lower than 1-to-1 ratio, making climbing, especially while loaded up, much easier. And a 40 to 11 is going to be quick enough. Along with that, all aluminum cockpit. So this is Bontrager's Elite Series handlebar. So this is going to have a more short and shallow reach. So the reach here a little bit shorter than some of their others. And you've got a mid drop to shallow drop down to the lowers on the bar. As I said before, it is a standard 27.2 seat post, aluminum post here. And if this were my bike, I would consider swapping that out for a carbon post to get some additional damping of vibrations, because with a carbon post, it's going to have a little flex, make it quite a bit more comfortable, just the same way that the carbon fiber fork on this bike does it too. Now, their Verse Comp saddle, this is either a love it or hate it saddle, but I think most people are enjoying it. Has a nice cutout for blood flow downstairs and should work out nicely. Well, anyways, now that we've gone over the specs and features of this bike, I think it's time that we go ahead and find out what it weighs. The actual weight of the Trek Checkpoint ALR 5 in a size 52 comes in and weighs 21.24 pounds. Thanks for joining me to check out the 2025 Trek Checkpoint ALR 5. This is a pretty nice bike, but I want to know down in the comment section, do you think it commands the $2,500 price tag that Trek has placed on it?